What's up? What's up? See who's in here.
When you're out in the wild, you either have bare skin or you have no skin. You see, unlike regular old hoodies, the bearskin hoodie is actually built for the outdoors, and it can stand up.
All right. What's going on? Good evening. Good evening. Just out here showing you guys doing a little winter prep. Um, let's see, we got 17 in here already. Just let me know if you guys can hear me. You know, we got to do our little checks. This time I got my mic. I got the everything set up, so I want to make sure that you guys can hear me pretty well. Give me a little thumbs up in there if you can hear me. All right. J3GS Farms, what's up, my guy? Appreciate you coming in. Can you hear me, J3GS Farm? Let me know if you can hear me. Okay, yeah, that's good. All right, so you can hear me. What's up, Billy? NE99143. Thank you for coming in. Um, Rock Wilson, what's going on? Sylvia, what's going on? Hello, everybody. She's speaking to everybody. Basically, what I'm coming out here to do, it's late evening. We can wind it down from the Soil Fest. Look at Marcelo back there. Didn't I tell y'all he want to be a star? He shows. What's up, man? Come here. What's happening? You want to smile for the camera? He don't want to be on camera right now. He just wanted to do a cameo and pop out. Seems like every time I go live, he'll show up out here. Good evening, everyone. I appreciate you guys for coming in. Y'all know I've been popping in all weekend. We've been enjoying this whole 2025 Southeastern Citrus Expo. Went over really well with Madison Citrus Nursery, Stan the Citrus Man up there in South Carolina. It just went over real well. We picked us up a couple of more fruit trees, well, actually citrus trees. Um, we got a persimmon, the Fuyu persimmon we picked up. We also picked up, don't make me say this thing the wrong way now. Anyway, we got some citrus trees. We're going to be showing y'all that when I start to up pot them. I'm not going to up pot them today. But what I was just looking at is back here in the garden, you see I've still got my peas and everything going right here. And I had a couple of people asking, like, how was I able to keep those peas alive? Those are early frosty peas. And then here I got some, this is some giant broccoli, or Goliath broccoli right there. And then over there, we got our collards. So we're not going to be ready for Thanksgiving. I thought we were going to be ready to do some harvesting for Thanksgiving, but all the plants are still small. Let me see who else we got in here. Sweets of Heaven. Yep, Sweets of Heaven, you got your wrench now. So I made you a moderator, whether you wanted to be one or not. So I got you, Sweets of Heaven. Uh, Jewel, thank you for coming in. TT, and I'm gonna give abbreviations because y'all be having these long names on here. Y'all know who I'm talking to. Bernard, thank you for coming in. Hello. My, what did you say? My grapefruit trees has flowers. Should I leave them alone? What grow zone are you in, Bernard? That's going to determine whether or not if you want to leave them alone, because your citrus technically are not. They everybody say they go dormant, but really citrus are evergreen. So they should be flowering if you're in the right grow zone. Um, my citrus still have fruit on it, and they will continue to flower all year long as the conditions permit. And what happened is, as the temperatures slow down, so will they. So if you're in a grow zone that's still warm, that's pretty normal for your citrus to continue to flower. Now, I'm not going to pretend like I know a whole lot about citrus because I do not, but I've had mine for the last year and been doing a lot of research along with that and working with Madison Citrus Nursery down in South Georgia. That's going to help me out a whole lot. So I'll be able to answer a lot of the questions you guys have moving forward. Sweets of Heaven is speaking to Sylvia. Thank you, Sweets. And she's one of our newest moderators. Sweets of Heaven should have been a moderator because she's been with me since day one. Cash Flow is on there. She's one of our moderators. Cash Flow has been with us since before day one. So she's been with us for a good little minute there. And I'm sure Mike gonna pop up in here at some point in time. Rock Wilson's, what do you do with the leftover green tomatoes once the frost has hit? I'm gonna read that again. That's Rock Wilson asking what to do with the leftover green tomatoes when the frost hit. Babe, you'll go in there and get that bag for me with the tomatoes in it. It's in the office next to the chair. I'm gonna show you what you do with that. What I do with it is I take my tomatoes and I'll put them in a paper bag. And what that does is it traps the ethylene gas in there and it triggers the natural rooting hormones that are already in the tomato. Now, it's going to take a little longer if your tomatoes are not going through the blushing stage, but what you might want to do is separate the blushing tomatoes from your green tomatoes and put them in separate bags, and that way you'll kind of have an idea of they'll ripen around the same time. So that's what I do with my green tomatoes or blushing tomatoes. I'll separate the green from the blushing. The ones that are blushing are obviously going to come ripe a little faster, but I'll put them in a paper bag, something that can breathe, but also trap that ethylene gas that the tomatoes give off naturally as a natural hormone. And despite what anybody's going to tell you, it does not affect the flavor of the tomato. The ethylene gas that's already in the tomato, which causes it to blush, which is called the breaker stage. And that is the reason why it's called the breaker stage, because at that point it releases the tomato from the plant. It no longer carries the tomato. That's why if you leave it on the plant, it'll fall off. That's the breaker stage. So what we do is we put that in a bag, allow that to sit for about a week, sometimes a little longer, depending on the ripeness of your tomatoes, and they will ripen on their own. A lot of people sit them in the window sills, and that's fine. It will happen if you sit it in the window sill. But putting it in those paper bags traps that ethylene gas, and that's really the way the commercial growers do it, and they'll ripen just fine. And like I said, the commercial growers usually harvest theirs when they're green, and that's the reason why that flavor is missing. But if you're harvesting your tomatoes during the breaker stage or when they're blushing, they have everything that they need in order to ripen on time. Thank you. My wife just went in and got some of the tomatoes. Now, if you remember, maybe what was it, a week ago, week and a half ago, that we harvested our black cherry tomatoes. And now I'm finna bring these out this paper bag now. And y'all finna see it for the first time yourself. What is that, G Mama Grows? Look how beautiful those things are. These are black cherry tomatoes fully ripe in that paper bag method that I tell you guys all the time. If your tomatoes are blushing, and these things are actually gorgeous. I mean, these are some of the beautifulest tomatoes I done had. My goodness. But you guys are seeing this right now. These are my black cherry tomatoes. What's going on, Mike's Chaotic Gardening? I knew you was coming. Ain't no question about it. I appreciate you, man. It's got G Mama in here, but these are the black cherry tomatoes that I put in the bag a week and a half ago, I think, maybe 2 weeks at best. But look at how they've ripened. These are some of the prettiest black cherries I've had. I mean, these things are gorgeous. Give me some thumbs up if y'all feeling this. This is the black cherry tomatoes, and it's the paper bag method. Like I said, this traps that paper. Hey, soul sister, appreciate you for coming in. Darth, what's up, man? I ain't seen you in a while. I've been live all weekend. Let's see, soil sister. Let me speak to a couple of people here. Soil sister just came in. G Mama, of course, here. J3GS Farms, MKP. Um, who else we got in here? Darth, I appreciate you, man. I ain't seen you in a while. Um, yeah, but this is just some of those.
Golden tiny day.
Who's that?
Golden time of day.
Garden time of day.
Golden.
Golden time of day is in. Thank you for coming in. Okay, I see you down there. Golden time of day. But again, this is just some of those tomatoes that we put into the paper bag. And again, I tell everybody it does not affect the flavor. These things are so delicious when you do that because what it does, it traps that ethylene gas in this bag and it triggers the natural hormones that are already in the tomatoes and it causes them to get that color in, that ripe color. Look how beautiful that is. Let me see if I can get that right into the camera. You see how beautiful those colors are? These are black cherry tomatoes. These are gorgeous. My goodness. Okay. I'm gonna pull some more out. Now this is one little bunch that I pulled out. I'm gonna pull out another bunch. Some of them are over ripening because they've been in here a little while. Oh man, these things. These things are gorgeous. These are seeds here. I'm gonna use all these for seeds. Look how beautiful these things are. Black cherry tomatoes. Yes, sir. What's up, Angela Calloway? I see you. I appreciate you coming in. Just showing somebody was asking about what to do with their green tomatoes. I see Tam in here. What's up? David Corey with the crops. All right. Let's see what else we got in the goodie bag down here. Yeah, all of these things are ripe now. They've been in here for 2 weeks. These are the black cherry tomatoes that I put in that paper bag when we harvested our black cherry tomatoes 2 weeks ago. All of them are ripe now. So, so this is when I would start taking the seeds from them. So that's going to give me plenty of seeds from them. This chat is jumping, my goodness. All right, I'm going to show you some more. And we pulling them out the bag. Now these are the same tomatoes. They falling off the stem, so I'm gonna have to pull some of them out because some of them are overripe. What up, Bougie Prepper? Thank you for coming in. We just somebody asked what to do with their tomatoes once the season is gone down, and I'm just showing them. Now these were all brown, so you see some of these are still not ripe. They're getting there. But these were green. So this is be a perfect example of the ones that you were talking about with yours being green. They're going to take a little while longer because that hormone is not as dominant in these. So they're going to take a little longer to get ripe. Now these may not have the flavor that the other ones have because when they're green and you put them in there, they are actually not ready to be picked off the vine. But when they are ready to be picked off the vine, they'll be blushing and you'll have something like this. How gorgeous those are. These are black cherry tomatoes. Yes, sir. So I got, shoot, plenty of seeds. Pull some more out the bag here. Even those little ones, which those are no good. I wouldn't get no seeds out of those. I just stuck them in there. I wanted to see what they would do. Oh man, look at how gorgeous that is. Black cherry tomatoes. Now these are all the way ripe. These are all the way ripe. You see that little tint on the end? That is when you know that they're ripe. When they get that dark tint on the end, it's like a reddish brown. That's when they're ripe. But look at the black on that. So these will be definitely the seeds. There's no cracks in this. Those are the seeds those are the tomatoes that I look for to collect my personal seeds because those are going to be the strongest ones. They went through the 29-degree freeze, and the 25-degree took the tree out. So the black cherry tomatoes are far more cold hardy than your regular tomatoes. Man, these things are gorgeous. Look at there. Oh, once again, black cherry tomatoes. Look at that. These are some of the best looking ones I've ever had, tell you the truth. Y'all make sure y'all hit that like button because the algorithm is going to send this video out more. The more you click on that like button, the more thumbs up. And I bet if y'all light this thing up with some thumbs, there you go with those hearts or thumbs in there, it'll send that algorithm to work for you and get more people into the chat. So y'all hit that thing up because like I said, y'all were with me when we harvested these. See, my neighbor's dog love to come out right when I'm out here on this thing. Oh man, that's crazy. Yeah, all of these are ripe. Everything in here is ripe. Some of them are overripe. But some of these things are absolutely gorgeous. I mean, they're gorgeous. Look at that. These are black cherry tomato heirlooms. These are heirlooms, not that stuff you get from uh, the big box stores or whatever. She say my neighbor's dog make me sick. I mean, it's like they won't do it when I'm just out here. They'll just do it when I'm recording. So another one. Again, those are black cherry tomatoes. I wanted to show that because, like I said, that was one question. That was the first question that came in, and I'm gonna show those again, just so you guys will see some of them right off the bat. Black cherry tomatoes. Look how gorgeous those are. All these are seeds. All these are what I'm gonna be using for seeds. Yes. What's the benefit of heirlooms? Angie asked that question. Let me see. Where's that question on here? Ari499 asked that question. What's the benefit of heirlooms? Well, heirlooms are open pollinated. They are not F1s. The difference between the heirloom and an open heirloom and an F1, one is a hybrid, which is, they call them an F1. You'll see that on the packs when you buy your seed packs. Or you'll have your heirlooms, which are open pollinated, which means that the bees, the wind, you can pollinate them by hand. You oftentimes hear me say tickling the flowers. You can just go over and tickle the flower. Those are plants that have been passed down through generation after generation. On average, an heirloom, I think the criteria is like 50 years of tracking that particular heirloom. Now with these here, I've had these for the past 4 years, and I have to tell you the whole story behind how I came about with these. And this is one of the reasons why I kind of hold on to them the way that I do, and I don't share them the way that I do. Sweets of Heaven has some, and Sweets of Heaven's been rocking with me, like I said, since day one. She has some, and very, very few people that I choose to share these with because the seeds to me have a significant value to them. So we're going to sit down another time and talk about that. So we're going to go back to the chat and see.
Somebody said from California.
I did my black cherry tomatoes just like you said, growing out the box, and they are still delicious. That's right. And that Sweets of Heaven said that. They you don't lose as long as they're blushing. Now when they're not blushing, if they're green when you put them in the bag, they will ripen, but you won't have that flavor that you would if they were blushing. I see made by Tammy Terrell in here. Tammy Terrell in here. Appreciate you for coming in. Thank you.
Jimmy Jacks 5545. As a California right in the middle of the fall black cherry tomato always produce even when nothing grow with smoke cover. We
That's
still have
right.
the black
That's
cherry
right.
though.
Let's see. Do the math. I got you. I got that name right now because last time I was struggling with that. Do the math. I was like, okay, that's do the math. Do the math. But he called it do the math. Um, he said he likes to use an electric toothbrush with his. Yes, that's a very easy way to do it. Um, I'm going to show you guys something that I was doing with my. If you want to turn it around, hold on. Let me see.
Come on, let me see that face.
Just hold it right there. I'll be right back. I'm finna go and get something. I want to show you guys something. And these are what I call emergency winter protection. And that's what we're talking about today, really. I wanted to show you guys like a quick way. Now, some of the fellas in here, they're gonna know what these are right away. And we're gonna see who knows what this is. Put some thumbs up in the chat. Don't say what it is, but put some thumbs up in the chat if you know what these are. Let me see who knows what it is now. If any of you guys don't know what this is, we're gonna have a problem. So let me see who knows what this is. I'm not expecting for some of the women to know, but I'm definitely expecting for my guys to know. So put some thumbs up in the chat if you know what this is.
Angela know what it is.
Angela Calloway knows what it is. Okay.
Timmy sure I put thumb up too.
Tammy Sherrill says she knows what it is. Who else knows what it is? Ain't nobody else putting thumbs up in there?
G Mama.
G Mama, you know what it is?
G Mama goes.
Okay. Well,
Theo.
all right. So
Kid Piku. David. Corey.
David Corey, you know what it is? David Corey with the crops. David Corey, you better know what this is.
Do that math.
Do the math, know what it is?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we got enough in here. So what we're gonna do is, these are, you put these in the concrete to secure your concrete. So if
Somebody
you,
said chicken wire. Somebody said
somebody said chicken wire,
and keep
but I'm gonna give it to you so we don't have to do all the
garden.
guessing. It's concrete mesh. It's like the mesh that you put down in your concrete if you're pouring a sidewalk. You see how this laying down here like that? You see how that's laying down? That's what you pour when you're pouring concrete. And what this does is it stiffens up the concrete. But you already know how we doing it over here. Let me show you how.
Somebody said they put them in ladder trees.
No, not a ladder trellis. That's what we gonna make it. We gonna make it into a ladder trellis. But let me show you how this works. You take these, if you got a raised bed, garden bed, whatever it is, when that cold comes in, you can pick these up from Lowe's for $3. And I'm gonna show you how simple this is to put in. $3. You got the little plugs on the end, run it down to the bottom, boom. Set it to the other side. Boom, y'all. Now I already know y'all know where I'm going with this. $3. $3 a piece. That's what they cost. $3 a piece. So that's how my peas made it through that last 25 degrees that we had. Everybody was asking, how did my peas make it? They didn't make it on their own. They had a little help. So you can throw these things up. Anybody can put them up. So we can't use the excuse that I'm not healthy enough or I can't do all the physical stuff that you do. Anybody can do this. One person can do it. Take it, sit it to the other side. Just drop it down on there, push it in, because you got these little spikes on the end. Come and get a picture of that. You got these little spikes on the end. So it's already made for you. Concrete mesh. Look how, and you see, you just take it down to your soil right here, and you just push them in. This is the simplest little DIY setup you can absolutely have. And it's cool because they work on every bed. Now, the reason why I really wanted to do these is because I just planted I just planted some alfalfa seeds, and I'm late in the season with planting my alfalfa seeds. And of course, the younger that the seeds are, the seedlings are, the more vulnerable they are to cold.
Somebody asked them, can you cut them to size you
Yes,
want?
you can. You can cut them to whatever size you choose. They're flexible. And then to secure it, let me show you what I do to secure it. And this makes this thing strong as anything that you want to add to it. And it actually looks good. You know, one of the things about me is not so much as about always protecting the garden, but it has to kind of fit in the sequence of what it is that I'm doing out here. So you see, I have these little posts that I get from Tractor Supply. I put some little wire mesh connectors on the top there, you see, and this is all this does. I come over here, line it up with the posts, and just drive it in. And that's what's going to secure the whole thing. Just push them in. And then you take that, and everybody know what we're going to do with this now. You lock that in. I don't have my screwdriver out here with me, but that will lock in to this little piece. You could take a wire or anything and screw it. Matter of fact, you can cut one of these out, fence posts or anything that you have around the garden, wrap it around the screw, and wire it in, snap it. And what that does is keeps it in place. So no matter how strong that wind is,
Yes, they had it strong enough to hold some sort of cover for all that.
strong enough to hold what?
I don't know the term.
But, and then I got another one for the other end. You just drop it down, force it into the soil, and there you go. Same thing on this end. You lock it in.
Some sort of cover.
Is this what you're talking about? Like I said, we done did this thing. It's tried and proved. And then these are Gaylord bags. I don't know if anybody know what a Gaylord bag, but if you've ever worked in a warehouse or anything like that, those big old boxes that you get all kind of stuff off the containers that come off the shipping yards, they have these big Gaylord bags in it. Like I said, I try to do all of this stuff by myself because oftentimes I'm out here by myself. So I try to do projects that one person can do. And you got a whole little hoop house. 5 minutes, you got a hoop house. 5 minutes. You got a whole hoop house in 5 minutes. And again, this is what's going to secure the whole thing. Now, if you have like the metal raised beds, you probably can get you some clothespins and go around the edges of your raised bed. But me, I have like some wood blocks, and I'll take the wood blocks and all the way around. I'll mount the wood blocks right here, all the way around.
Somebody said some pistol clamp.
Yeah, yeah. And what was it that they said?
Pistol clamp.
Yeah, any type of clamps. You could put any type of clamps on here. You can, they sell the plastic on Amazon, the greenhouse plastic. But I just wanted to show you just how fast this is and how simple it is. And putting it on, didn't take 5 minutes to put that on there. That was the build and install. So I can show the garden without having all of these things all over the place. And then when I don't want to show it and the weather's good, and one of the reasons why I took this off is because legumes take nitrogen from the air and put it into the nodules on the roots. But when you have this trap like this, it can't take that nitrogen out of the air. So your legumes are not going to be able to convert that nitrogen with this on it. So that's why I took it off. But you see how they started greening up? All of these things are greened up. No fertilizer in this bed. And they're flowering. You see here? Got flowers going on and everything. These are early frosty peas here. And then let me show you how easy this is. Back up. Here's the same thing. So they work on all kind of beds. No matter what you're doing, you can crisscross it. Now you got a whole thing here. Same thing, you throw your plastic across it. If you got some larger plants, like what I have right here in my collards, and you don't want that plastic to touch the frost, because if the plastic touches the frost, it's gonna burn your plants. So what I'll do is I'll put a frost blanket across it first, and then I'll put the plastic over it. Because what's gonna happen is the plastic is gonna keep it from touching, the frost blanket is gonna keep it from touching the plants, and that's what you don't want. But you see how beautiful these collards are? They haven't been covered up, but that's my emergency system. If you ever had like an emergency plan, this is your emergency plan right here. All these collards. I thought I was gonna have something ready for Thanksgiving, but I don't know, for some reason, things are just not growing as fast this year. They're nice and healthy, but they're just not growing as fast. I think maybe that cold spell that came through may have kind of stunted them a little bit. I'm not sure, because they're just not growing as fast. And then I'll come over here and I'll show you how they work on one of these round beds. So you can use these on any type of platforms in your garden. And I got these over my other bed here. And I just wanted to give you guys many examples of how to use it. You see how this is? It goes all the way to the ground. So all you're gonna do is basically you could take a bag, a plastic bag, a large clear plastic bag, put it on there, tie it off at the bottom, and that's done. I mean, it really is that simple. And I'll go over here to, this is the main reason why I was looking for that, because I just put my my alfalfa in, and everybody's using alfalfa to fertilize their garden, so I wanted to do me an alfalfa patch. And you see all my alfalfa is coming up here. But if that cold comes back in, even though the alfalfa is cold hardy, it still would pretty much take these out because they're not established. I should have put these in October, but because I didn't have enough time, I've been doing so many other things, I got them in. But I can take that same little wire mesh, throw it across here. I can cut them down, as somebody was saying early. I can cut them down shorter because I only want those to go maybe this tall over here, so they can match up to the height of the bed here, and then I could secure the plastic to the bed, and that'll keep my alfalfa insulated throughout the winter, and springtime my alfalfa patch is in. Now the alfalfa, one of the reasons why I'm growing it, it has a 323 or 322 NPK, one of the best nitrogen fixers you can have in your garden. These have been inoculated with our not the leguminosarum bacteria. These are meliloti bacteria is what you use on your alfalfa. But that's pretty much what we were talking about today. And like I said, we're just winterizing, making sure that everything is ready to go.
That's a great idea. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah. I mean, that's what we do out here. You know, we want to do things that's gonna make the job so much easier. And I just wanted to show you guys how simple it is. And even with going with our blueberries, winterizing, right before we get to a cold, and you can see the difference in my southern high bush, which is my sweetheart right here, and this is a northern high bush. You can see a big difference in the two bushes. You see how the northern high bush has dropped all of its leaves, and then the southern high bush is still holding. The northern high bush, that is what it does. It's going to drop all of its leaves. The southern high bush will hold on, but you got that beautiful autumn colors on here, and you want to make sure that these beds are insulated really well with your mini pine bark nuggets. All my beds are insulated with the mini pine bark nuggets. And one of the craziest things that you probably want to think about when the weather starts to drop on you, maybe 3, 4 days before you have a freeze coming into your calendar, go out and water your soil. Do a really good water of your soil. And what that does is going to insulate your soil and keep that temperature from dropping below that 32 mark. And that's one of the things that I do. So like I said, we was just doing some tips and tricks on how to get ready for this winter. You see,
Do you use your alfalfa for soil amendment?
who asked that question?
Emma Jane, 5545.
Emma Jane.
Emma Jane.
Somebody asked, do I use my alfalfa as a soil amendment? Absolutely, yes. What these beds over here represent, I'm gonna go back over here. These beds over here represent what I'm trying to do in what we're calling a closed loop garden. The, the alfalfa tap roots go down anywhere from 6 to 15 feet into the soil. So they're gonna be able to pull up nutrients and nutrients in the soil that the average plant cannot. So that's one of the reasons why I guess. So this is gonna be a dedicated patch in the garden. You can harvest from this patch 3 to 4 times a year, and the alfalfa is going to keep growing back. It's a perennial, it's cold hardy, it'll get down to below 0 degrees, so anybody can pretty much grow this. You may have to do a little insulation in some of the northern, like Mike, you up in Minneapolis, you can grow your alfalfa patch, put you a little cover over it, and the alfalfa is going to be perfectly fine. They may get up to 24 inches tall. You come in, you cut them down, chop and drop, take that, and you'll sprinkle them over your other beds as a mulch. That's your fertilizer. You're actually closing the loop and eliminating that carbon footprint that we put out here on the garden. And we'll come over here to this bed, same thing. We got daikon radish over here. And the daikon radish, you know, some people call them tillage radish. And that's what I like to refer to them as, because I'm not growing the daikon to eat. I'm growing the daikon to leave them in the soil, let them decay, let the earthworms come up, eat them. And of course that poop comes out. That's your worm castings. So in here I got some Bocking 14 comfrey. I got more Bocking 14 comfrey on the other side over there. So next season, going into spring, we're gonna really be wide open with some of this, I call it closed loop. I don't even wanna call it regenerative. I call it closed loop gardening, because everything that we're doing here, we're basically gonna be recycling back in and allowing it to feed back into the soil. We got going out here, and this is something that I was gonna do today. I'm gonna come out here and I'm gonna show you how simple this is. And this is our Mexican sunflower, one of our plants. We got 3 or 4 in the garage. So the Mexican sunflower is not cold hardy to Georgia zone 8A. And you know, I had to try it. So I left this one out here just to see what it would do. And of course it took a really good beating in this cold, and it may not survive. So I'm sure. But this is a Mexican sunflower here. Tithonia diversifolia is what this is. And this is the same thing. It's a dynamic accumulator, uh, lots of biomass. These things get anywhere from 10 to 12 feet tall and maybe just as wide. These are sterile, so they're not the same as the other Mexican sunflowers that you hear out here. This is Tithonia diversifolia. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut into this, because I think this tree is pretty much taking a beating on it. But let's say we're gonna come right here and we're gonna see if we got some green in there. You see that? This is still living. That's still living. Yeah. So all of these are still living. I'm gonna take this top part off. And now the thing about the Tithonia diversifolia, the Mexican sunflower, if you do not want this to take over your yard, don't do this. If you drop that on the ground like y'all just did, within a week's time, this thing will make root. That's how easy it is. So what I'm gonna do with these, I'm gonna cut me 1, 2, 3, 4 nodes. I want at least 4 nodes on each one of these. It's that simple. You see that still green on the top there? And all you have to do is come over to any pot and just stick it in there. That's all you have to do. I'm not gonna do this to him, but what I'll do is take these tips here. That's fertilizer. Now the Mexican sunflower has, I wanna say, a MPK of a 621 or 623 or something like that. So it's very good with nitrogen and also good with potassium. With,
Somebody said you plant them in pot because those invasive.
they are not invasive. And that's my point. They will grow in this one spot. This plant, and I did this for the purpose of anybody who's to tell me that they are invasive. This plant has been out here all year. So if you start seeing them pop up next year, then I'd have to agree with you. But as of now, I'm saying these are not invasive because they are sterile. So even with the flowers, and I'm saying the Tithonia diversifolia, they are sterile. The flowers, it makes those pretty flowers at the top. They, no matter what birds get them, they're not gonna make seed. They're not gonna make a new plant. Now, what will happen is if you drop this on the ground, so I'm saying that it's not a lazy person's garden tool. If this drops on the ground, absolutely it's gonna take over. It's gonna root. I'm gonna show you just how simple it is to make these grow. That's all you have to do. You drop that on the ground, within a week's time, it'll start to make root. That's why I do what I do. So instead of doing that and just aimlessly dropping them, I'm gonna come over here and get this. And like I said, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm gonna go 4 nodes right below a node. You see all that green flesh there? That's still good. I'll just stick it in the soil. And we're gonna take that in the garage and push it down, do the same thing, because they're not gonna live through our winters here in Georgia. So now I'm taking this one plant and I'm probably gonna make 7, 8 plants out of it. It'll be ready for next year. So all that green is still good. You don't have to do any scraping to the cambium layer. You don't have to do any of that. Just take it, stick it in the soil just like that, all the way down. That's it. All the way down. This is some of the best. Oh, this here we don't. Now with these here, we're gonna dispose of these. These little twigs here that we're not gonna use, we're gonna dispose of them. We don't wanna throw these in the garden because they will take over. Now, what I'm gonna do is, all this top piece here, I don't want any of that either. But I do want those leaves. And we're just gonna drop that right around the root of the plant. Now, the reason why I'm doing this, because I wanna see if I can make this come back for next year. I'm in Georgia Zone 8A. So I'm gonna take this all the way down. I'm gonna take this and we're just gonna push it into the soil. All of these are gonna root. You're gonna take this last one here, even this little piece here. Take it down to the soil. Yep. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna take me just a pot. throw my mulch over this. You see, I'm just brushing the mulch over it because I'm gonna try to insulate it for the winter. I'm gonna try to insulate it for the winter, and I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna throw me a pot over that, and we're gonna see if we can keep that insulated for the rest of the winter, and then we'll be able to come back next year and see if it survives. If it survives, then we know it's a little more cold hardy, at least with a little protection. Now, down at Madison Citrus Nursery, the last 2 days, I saw something that really got my interest going on how to protect some of your plants that are going to struggle during this cold out here. So we're going to go over here to our Satsuma. This is our brown select. And I'm going to try this year on this. And basically what they did was they have these little planter tops that look like a flower pot to me. They're like large flower pots. And what they do is they flip the flower pots over and then they cut a hole in it. It looks like this is what it is to me in theory. Just take into account like you have a large flower pot, maybe a 30-gallon flower pot. You flip it over, you drill your holes in it, split it down the side so you can open it up and close it. And then you bring it over here, you pile all of your insulation inside of here, and then you put that pot around it upside down with the stem coming out. That's going to protect all of this throughout the winter. This is the first year Brown Select Satsuma, so I'm going to be doing that, and I'm going to show you guys when I do that. But I saw that yesterday that they had down there, and I was like, man, that is a brilliant idea and how simple that is. But it looks like, and I'm sure it's not just a flower pot, but it's some type of insulator that they have. It looks like a big flower pot. They basically flip it upside down and it creates basically a house, a dome all the way around the root and your scion as well as your rootstock. So you don't want this part of your plant to perish throughout the winter. This part is not going to go anywhere. This is your Pansaris trifoliate down here. That's cold hardy. It's not going to have a problem. But the first year of this Brown Select Satsuma, I want to make sure that we protect at least the bottom half of this. So I got some 30-gallon pots that I'm going to do with this, and that 30-gallon pot's going to come up to about right here. I'm going to insulate the tree with some insulation, then I'm going to put some leaves and stuff in it, pack it in, and then close that in. And I got my TP that goes over this. So we're going to be really good on this year. We're going to go over here, sit down with you, and we're going to do a little chatting. We're going to sit down and do a little chatting and get out of here before. Yeah, we're going to sit down over here so I can read some of the chat. Yes, all right. So if you guys have any questions, I am open to any questions. Like I said, we had a very good weekend down there at Madison Citrus Farm, Madison Citrus Nursery. I'm sorry, I always want to say farm. Very productive weekend. So again, there's our little hoop house that we got right here. And that's so simple. And those little pieces there, these things are like $3 a piece. That's all they cost, like $3 a piece. So for some free plastic and $12, 3, 6, 9, 12, even if you spent $16, you got your nice little hoop house already done. That's what we're trying to do out here. We're trying to save us some money, come up with some creative ways to do a few things. So we're gonna sit here and just chat for a while. Starting to like this whole live thing. So, let's see here. Right. Now I gotta see if I can see this thing. Right Works, growing out the box. Yo, what's up, Right Works? Let's see here. David Core with the crop is speaking to TJ. Should be happy for the winner. Yeah, that's right. TJ Creates should be happy for the winner. So we're just trying to give you guys some ideas on how to make sure that we be ahead of all of these things. Because like I said, I wanted something that's really quick. I don't really like having the garden covered up, like a lot of people have everything covered. I like to walk out in my garden and feel like everything is the way that it's supposed to be in nature. But of course, when we start trying to grow out of our boundaries, which is going down into those freezing areas where these plants are not supposed to go, we're going to have to do some type of protection. And that's part of my little plan for I can jump out here and within, a few hours, I can have the entire garden covered up in little time to none. So that's just some of the tips that I wanted to show you guys on that. So if anybody has any questions, or we'll just go down and speak to a few people. Definitely worth trying. That's what Mike's Chaotic Garden says. Yeah, even like I said, even with that Mexican sunflower, I got these little pieces here. I will not let these touch the ground because this is what's actually invasive. When they speak of the Mexican sunflower, they speak of the branches. If these things touch the ground within a week, they'll root. And I don't know how strong these are, so you could burn them or put them in a plastic bag. They'll probably start to root if you put them in a plastic bag from the condensation and all, because that is what people talk about when they say being invasive. It's not the seeds. They don't put off a seed. The seeds are sterile. Same thing with the Baching 14. They'll flower, but they won't put off any seeds that are viable. And that's the type of stuff that I want. I want to be able to control this out here. So let's see what else we have in the chat. David Core with the crops speaking to Henry, growing out the box. What's the lowest temps in your zone? And that's LLG asking what's the lowest temperatures in my zone. I'm in Georgia zone 8A. So we have gotten down before to 8 degrees. Um, our average should not be 8 degrees. Our average should be anywhere from 20, 2022, that's average, but there's no such thing as average anymore. I tell everybody you can throw out all of that uh, frost dates and all of that stuff. There's no such thing as when the frost comes in, when the frost goes out. You basically just watch the forecast. This time of the year, I'm always watching the extended forecast more so than that 7 to 10 day forecast. And you have to be prepared to move when it's time to move. So one of the things that I like about going out here in the garden, it is proactive. It's nothing about sitting down and you got plans to do something else today because the garden is going to dictate what it is that you need to be doing. And that's one of the ways that my plants are able to grow out of season, if they are even to go able to go even further into the seasons, is because I'm always paying attention to what the weather is going to do, and then I react to it. You know, um, I'm really feeling excited about growing that alfalfa. I've been using the alfalfa now for the past 3 years. Definitely makes a difference in the garden. Alfalfa has a compound in it called tricontinol. The tricontinol is a root stimulant. It's a hormone that's in the alfalfa that actually stimulates roots. So I mix that into my seedling mixes whenever I transplant my seedlings, and they take off. I mean, they really take off. So when you mix that into your soil, along with your other amendments, because it's not a full fertilizer, it's not going to cover all of your garden needs, but it's that thing that you add in there that gives your garden that extra boost that it needs. And with our Tithonia diversifolia, our Mexican sunflower, with our Baching 14 comfrey, we got a good supplement of nutrients that can go into our soil without having to go anywhere else to get it. And also, I like using brown sugar. You can use molasses as well, but it works best for me with brown sugar and making fish hydrolysate. So if anybody goes fishing, all of your fish guts, your fish heads, fish scales, You put that into a blender, and I have a one of those ninja blenders, and I'm going to show you guys making this. It is so simple. You can put that $29 bottle of fish fertilizer back on the shelf because they're charging, yeah, $29, $30 for a bottle of fish fertilizer now. You can make that stuff at home. Go down, find you a creek somewhere, a pond somewhere in your community. Go ahead and snatch you a couple of fish out of there, throw them in your blender. You do 50-50 part uh, fish parts, guts, the shells, the bones, grind them up really well. Put 50% brown sugar in with that. You can take that liquid whey that I use to spray on my blueberry bushes. Mix a cup of that in there along with some rice water. Let it sit out for a week. Put a cup of that, so you got 2 cups. The 1 cup of your rice water, the 1 cup of your liquid whey. You mix that in there with your brown sugar, 50% brown sugar, 50% fish parts, and within 3 to 4 weeks you come back. That liquid that's decomposed in there, 1 tablespoon per gallon. Fish hydrolysis. It's that simple. I'm going to be sharing all of that stuff with you guys next year as we come into the season. We're going to start off early with it, even the composting. Uh, I've been doing stuff like the FPJs, the fermented plant juices, like we call it super juice, as Miss Linda calls it. Well, you can do the same thing with the super juice. You could take your plants and all of that, mix that brown sugar in it, and what it'll do is through osmosis, it'll extract all the nutrients out of those plants. And you do 1 tablespoon per gallon, and you got fertilizer. You closing the loop. It's this thing's finna get easy for us. It's really finna get easy for us. And as the times begin to get rougher, and I don't do the politics on here, the religion. I try to stay away from both, but I can't get away from the spiritual side of what it is that I do and who I am. And that part of me is always looking out for my brothers and sisters and what we've come to know, be known as neighbors. I want to be able to share these things with you because I think some of us are going to be needing to get out here and learn how to grow this food. That's been my whole goal. I've been wanting to learn how to grow, not necessarily see how much I can grow, because if you can grow one plant and you've mastered that plant that you've grown, you can grow any plant. It's just a matter of principles and using the same philosophies that you've gone and applied. And I can grow anything out here that I choose. Having my fruit trees in now, we got more citrus trees that are coming in. We're partnering with Madison Citrus Nursery. So we're going to have the citrus trees on there. We got our fruit trees on the website. We're trying to find us a blueberry. Of all things that I can't find is a blueberry supplier. But once we get our blueberry supplier, we're going to have all our fruit trees lined up. And next year we're coming out. Actually, we're coming out the box. We're growing out the box next year. So I'm appreciating you guys for all the support that you all have done with us. Just giving you a count of where we are with our social media. We're 230 something on 230 something thousand on YouTube, 450,000 on Facebook, 402,000 on IG, and 83,000 on TikTok. So we're over 1 million neighbors. And I've always said from day one that none of this is possible without you guys. Mike's Chaotic Gardening, you've been rocking with me. G Mama, uh, Tammy Sherrill, I appreciate you. Sweets of Heaven, all of y'all been rocking with me the whole time. And those are my moderators. And y'all, I'm not sure if Nikki's in here, the OCD is chick. Okay, and I'll be just doing my little pop-ups. David Corey with the crops. Brother, hey, David Corey, dude, keep doing what you're doing, man. I'm liking your audio, moving the camera around, just keeping the crowd engaged. Just keep it going, man. That's how the growth happens. You just keep doing what you're doing. And I always tell people one of the most encouraging things that I like to say is you don't always have to know what you're doing, but you always got to be doing something. I'm going to say that again. You don't always have to know what you're doing, but you always have to be doing something. Because what's going to happen is as the day goes on and you're doing that thing, something that you're doing is going to work. And even those things that don't work, that's a lesson to move forward with and saying, I know what doesn't work. So you move on past that. You take what does work, you make it, put it into your new, your new, I call it the toolbox. And the other stuff you toss to the side. You're going to need it later on. So nothing that we do out here in the garden is a failure. Nothing that you do out here in this garden is a failure. And I say that because as long as you don't quit, that's the key right there. The only way that you can become a failure is to quit, because you never know what the next day is going to bring. Next day could be that breakthrough for you. And that goes with anything that you're doing in life. The next day could be that breakthrough. And the thing that makes the difference is whether you quit, fight through it, make it through it. And I think that's where we're at now. We're at a point to where we're going to have to do some things together to make it make sense. And this is my I guess you might say, input into what it is that we're doing. I'm trying to learn as much about this stuff as I possibly can so that carbon footprint gets reduced. That thing to where when I first started gardening and everybody was saying, well, why are you buying all these bag fertilizers? Why are you putting all this stuff in there that you're advertising all of this? Well, all of that stuff was a learning process for me. I had to go through it in order to get to where I'm at now. And I owe that to you guys for sticking with me and encouraging me to keep going. And that's what this is all about. It's about sharing. All of this is about sharing. So let's see if we can read some more of the chats here. And we're getting dark out here, so we ain't gonna let it get dark on us this time. I got a little light bouncing off the wall right here. So we're gonna just say I appreciate you guys. Again, there's that quick little tip and trick that I wanted to show you guys for if you're in these little frost areas to where that cold's coming in on you, you can save a lot of your plants. Little $12 little uh, hoop house that we just built in less than 5 minutes. Growing out the box. Peace.